voracious, all-consuming. A touch of it burnt through flesh and clothing, even tough dragon hide. It could drain a lush valley of all life in a day. Unchecked, it would consume all life on Pern. It drowned in water, froze on ice, and perished by flaming dragon's breath. Without the dragons these eggs held, there would be too few dragons left to protect the world from thread. Even in her dream, Xhinna felt her blue dragon, Tazith, stir and try to follow her feelings. She turned to where he lay sprawled nearby and smiled. She was the first woman to ride blue in all memory, and as she looked at him, her heart swelled with love and pride. Brown dragons and bronzes always chose male riders, just as the gold queen dragons chose female riders. According to tradition, the blues and greens were also ridden only by males. But times had changed. A sickness had risen, a sickness that killed dragons. They had fallen by the hundreds, even as the first fall of thread in the new third pass required dragons to fly in flame to save Pern. It was only through the genius of Jirana that a cure had been found, created in an unprecedented cross-time collaboration with the original colonists. The price of Jirana's success had been her own queen dragon. When a dragon died, it is like having your soul ripped apart. The thought was so terrible that Xhinna whimpered. She turned in surprise to see her sleeping self whimper, and then she was awake, shivering. "Are you okay?" Taria asked sleepily. "You were having a nightmare." "I'm okay," Xhinna said. Taria wrapped her arms around her and pulled her close. "You're freezing. Just a bad dream." In the morning, the eggs were gone. Their shattered remains had been dumped in the sea, empty. Only 23 of the 253 eggs had hatched. The rest had been ruptured, their contents devoured by tunnel snakes burrowing up from the ground. This never would have happened in the high rocky weirs where the dragons usually lived. But here, on the uncharted plains of the Eastern Isle, the ground was too soft, the way too easy, and the tunnel snakes were too greedy. The sun warmed her as she scanned the now empty plain, but Xhinna shivered as she saw once again, in her memory, cluster after cluster of lifeless dead eggs, their vitals destroyed by the voracious tunnel snakes. She remembered the desperate fight, the cries, the screams of agony, and the few, very, very few, triumphs in this one-sided disaster. She turned as a baby dragonette gave a plaintive cry that was instantly answered by a consoling voice. Kinth, the only green to hatch, had been severely mauled by the tunnel snakes before it was freed by Jeriz, now that he'd impressed the grievously wounded dragon. "It's okay. Shh, little one, you'll do fine," blonde-haired Becca said soothingly to both dragon and rider. She was small and young for a healer, but she made up for lack of stature and age with a fierce determination and a stubborn resolve never to lose a ward. Her mother was a midwife. Her father had been a dragon rider until the dragon sickness had taken his blue cirth. If they were here now because of Jirana, then it was Jeriz's father, Teniz, who had set her on the way. Teniz was one of the rare traders born with the gift of the sight, the strange gift that gave glimpses of the future. With his sight, Teniz had recognized Jirana, had helped set her on the path that had led her and all the others turns into the past and to the eastern of the two great isles, low-lying masses that had remained untouched by humans for hundreds of turns. Jeriz did not have the gift of the sight. That had gone to his younger sister, Jirana. 10 turns was unusually young for sight to manifest, but this adult responsibility did not prevent Jirana from being an extremely outgoing and passionate child. Xhinna loved both of them like a big sister, and the terrible plight of Jeriz's green dragonette, Kinth, tore at her heart. Despite Becca's cheerful manner, Xhinna could think of no other dragon so horribly injured that had survived. She feared that Jeriz might be a dragon rider for less than a 7-day. If only the tunnel snakes had not attacked.